I mean, I follow him on Instagram. It's hilarious. He's always in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and he's making making deals. Look at my cars. Look at my watch. This is my big watch. I got a bigger watch.
You don't think there's an opportunity to land a big punch on Floyd?
Let me tell you something about Floyd. This is what I don't like about him either. No matter whatever we say about him, and it could be true, but he's in that gym. He don't do drugs. That's his heroin, the gym.
Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson reveals downfall of Mayweather. How does a boxer who once bragged that he made more money than Bill Gates wind up scrambling for exhibition paydays, juggling rumors of unpaid debts, and defending a vanishing $42 million deal? What the podcast duo just exposed is more gripping than any 12-round thriller.
Tell me, so what's the difference now from your era to today?
No one was afraid of anyone. Everyone really believed they can beat him.
But it's a business, more business, it's more money than everybody.
Floyd Mayweather changed the game of it when he turned into the pretty boy.
Yeah, that was cool too. But he had to get in that ring and fight too. He had to fight the best competitor. He wiped everybody out. And that's why he's who he is. He beat everybody. He beat everybody I thought would give him a chance. He just wiped everybody out. Nobody can even match him. The best. He didn't pick guys. He took the best. Even the guys I picked against him, he beat everybody, made everybody wrong.
Right.
And that's why he's who he is.
How do you feel about Floyd, though?
Huh?
How do you feel about
Awesome
Floyd?
fighter, great fighter. He's a little too into himself. He should be. I was the same way too, but you have to come to reality some way. You have to bring your head down to God. We're nothing to be fucking arrogant. You expect us to be ignorant and arrogant. Look where we came from.
That's why I asked the question earlier about you mentoring fighters, because I feel like Floyd looked at you growing up like every other fighter. And the persona and the lifestyle was like, growing up in the hood, we looked at it like, that's Mike Tyson. We see the cars, the jewelry, the flair. Like you was a movie star. You was a hero.
On social media, Floyd Mayweather's life looks unstoppable. Jet engines humming, desert skylines glowing behind rows of supercars, suitcases bursting with diamond-encrusted watches. He reminds the world daily that money is both his nickname and his brand. Yet when Mike Tyson leans forward and says Floyd's real addiction is the gym, not drugs, the discipline collides with a glaring question. Can a man so laser-focused on fitness keep his finances in shape? Joe Rogan calls Mayweather's modern fights risk-free cash grabs. These exhibition bouts pit an undefeated legend against influencers who have about as much chance of winning as a snowball in July. No judges, no official record, just easy rounds that end with wire transfers. Rogan wonders aloud whether the thrill is sporting or simply financial. Logan Paul's public claim that he is still owed $3 million after their spectacle only fuels that suspicion, and Paul's half-joking line, "Floyd might actually be broke," keeps echoing through podcasts and headlines alike. Then comes the Manhattan mystery. Mayweather boasted he bought 62 apartment buildings with no partners, a self-declared $400 million power play. Business Insider investigated and found ownership records unchanged. Critics argue the numbers never moved. Supporters insist the paperwork lags. Either way, the gap between Instagram flex and documented fact widened, and a $42 million investment suddenly looked more like a phantom left hook than a
$50 million, I don't know, it's on one of my... Who knows? Who gives a
Stupid shit. It was fun.
Tax trouble is an old opponent. Back in 2017, the IRS demanded $22.2 million in unpaid taxes. The timing, exactly when Mayweather signed to fight Conor McGregor, banking a reported $100 million. Analysts believed that payday kept interest off his back instead of building new wealth. Meanwhile, Mayweather told followers he earns $300 million a month. Figures veteran investors dismissed as fantasy louder than a ringside bell. Supporters counter that Mayweather's pay-per-view blueprint still prints cash. They note his brand endorsements, memorabilia auctions, and a reported stake in tech startups focused on fitness analytics. If even half of those ventures mature, skeptics could look foolish. Yet every business launch requires capital, compliance, and patient reinvestment. Three forces that clash with Mayweather's famously impulsive spending. Balance sheets reward delayed gratification, not impulse buys. Without a seasoned financial quarterback, turnovers can happen under casino lights during frenetic nights on the Vegas Strip. Gervonta Tank Davis poured gasoline on the fire, claiming Mayweather was stuck in Dubai until clearing jewelry debts. Leonard Ellerbe, usually quick with press-ready confidence, sidestepped the question entirely. That silence sparked more speculation. Was Floyd visiting luxurious malls or negotiating exit paperwork behind closed doors? Mayweather's subsequent videos, filmed from lavish suites yet conspicuously light on specifics, did little to settle nerves. Costly habits remain on full display. Cameras caught him unveiling a $1.8 million green face wristwatch, grinning as if it were a championship belt. He owns fleets of Bugattis, yet reports say one resale angered the brand so much they cut future deals. Fans marvel, but accountants quietly calculate depreciation and upkeep with raised eyebrows. Mayweather insists his legacy is generational wealth. He publicly told his adult children, "No more handouts," challenging them to triple what he built. Admirable, perhaps, but skeptics note the contradiction between preaching prudence and spending like victory laps never end. Joe Rogan observes that Mayweather's hunger, forged by a competitive family lineage, once chased craft and titles. Now, the same hunger targets net worth leaderboards, making each flashy purchase feel like another scorecard. Tyson, ever direct, reminds listeners that respect in boxing came from fighting the best. To his credit, Mayweather beat everyone placed before him. Yet today, his opponents are YouTubers, kickboxers, and reality stars. Opponents chosen not for danger, but for draw. One commentator quipped that the bouts resemble high-stakes magic tricks. The audience watches the dazzling wallet while the other hand pockets the paycheck.
You don't think there's an opportunity to land a big punch on Floyd?
Let me tell you something about Floyd. This is what I don't like about him either. No matter whatever we say about him, and it could be true, but he's in that gym. He's a rat. He retired, but he stayed in the gym. He can't help it. He don't do drugs. That's his heroin, the gym.
Someone told me this. They say he doesn't have a vice. Yeah. He doesn't have a vice.
No, he does. The gym.
The gym.
The gym.
Logan Paul's unpaid purse saga illustrates the downside of that illusion. Public contracts promise transparency. Unseen back-end splits breed doubt. When Mayweather shrugged and said pay-per-view money takes time, fans recalled his boasts of immediate liquidity. If funds can't flow easily to a co-star, how swiftly do they reach tax collectors, lenders, or silent partners? The gym remains his sanctuary. Tyson envisions Floyd hammering mitts at 2 a.m., sweat pooling like coins in a fountain. Discipline kept him unbeaten, yet even Tyson warns that rigid focus can blur peripheral dangers. While Mayweather counts punches landed, expenses pile like body shots. Exhibition rounds last 8 minutes, compound interest works 24 hours. Observers calculate that his headline paydays, McGregor, Paul, Nasukawa, total less than the long-term maintenance of real estate empires, entourage payrolls, and imported supercars. And if that Manhattan portfolio never existed, the revenue stream shrinks further. Mayweather counters by flashing another custom watch, but as Rogan quips, a watch tells time, it doesn't pay taxes. Allegations of a jewelry debt hold in Dubai highlight the risk of flexing in the wrong arena. In Las Vegas, unpaid stones may yield lawsuits. In the Gulf, they can ground private jets. Whether the story is true, the mere plausibility shows how tightly his identity is tied to purchases with more sparkle than liquidity. Pundits compare Mayweather to athletes who quietly diversified into tech startups and equity funds. Instead, Floyd's empire is built on immediate cash and visible luxury, the kind that photographs well yet rarely appreciates. Mike Tyson knows that path. He once blew through hundreds of millions. His warning carries weight. You have to bring your head down to God. During a candid podcast moment, Rogan mused that the toughest opponent many champions face is life after applause fades. Boxing gives structure. Wake up, train, fight, repeat. Retirement shifts that energy into ventures that require patience, regulation, and slower payoffs. For Mayweather, faster money through exhibitions mimics fight night adrenaline. A crowd cheers, cameras flash, bankers wire. Rumors also swirl around delayed payments to undercard fighters and vendors. Nothing proven, but whispers gather momentum. Each social media flex is scrutinized frame by frame. Which watch, which car, which city? Enthusiasts celebrate, auditors analyze. The discrepancy between stated monthly income and publicly traceable revenue only heightens curiosity. Mayweather's defenders argue jealousy drives criticism. They remind everyone that Floyd owns his promotional company, negotiates his own deals, and keeps a lion's share of pay-per-view. Even so, revenue needs stewardship. One advisor noted that $1 billion in career earnings does not equal $1 billion retained. Taxes, fees, and lifestyle clip each dollar like a speed bag. The conversation inevitably circles back to that $42 million real estate claim. If the buildings are part of a larger investment with existing owners, transparency would silence skeptics. Instead, mystery lingers. Real estate professionals point out that New York property transfers leave digital paper trails within days. Months have passed with no updates. Against this backdrop, Mayweather's mantra, generational wealth, sounds both aspirational and precarious. Tyson's past proves fortunes can evaporate. Rogan's commentary reminds audiences that charisma cannot refinance debt. Discipline in the gym may be his heroin, but financial discipline decides whether future exhibition offers feel optional or obligatory. Controversy sharpens whenever Mayweather ranks himself above all boxing legends. Detractors ask whether undefeated status holds if the fight outside the ring ends differently. A tarnished bank account doesn't erase victories, yet legacy in modern culture blends athletic dominance with sustained prosperity. When money is your nickname, losing it changes perception. The story of Mayweather's possible downfall isn't a single knockout punch. It's an accumulation of jabs, unpaid purses, disputed investments, tax demands, and rumors of overseas detainment. Each hit seems minor until fatigue sets in. Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson simply pointed where the punches are landing. So, where does that leave the man once seen as an untouchable billionaire? Perhaps still wealthy beyond ordinary comprehension, perhaps sprinting on a treadmill that speeds up with every Rolex purchase. In boxing, defense wins championships. In finance, transparency wins trust. Until records and receipts match the boasts, spectators will wonder whether the pound-for-pound king is fighting an invisible opponent called mathematics. If Floyd's perfect ring record remains intact, but his accounts are on shaky legs, the question isn't who can beat him, it's what can. The drug of boxing, as Rogan calls it, may offer short-term highs, yet every addiction carries a cost. Tyson says the gym is his heroin. Economics textbooks suggest heroin eventually drains the veins dry. The bell hasn't rung yet. Mayweather might reveal bank statements that silence every critic, or he might sign another flashy fight to plug fresh leaks. Either way, the saga proves that in the modern sports world, the real drama often starts after the gloves come off. And if the richest boxer alive keeps chasing easy rounds for fast cash, maybe the toughest challenger was never Pacquiao or Canelo. Maybe, from the beginning, it was money itself for good.